So imagine for a second that you're just sitting in your living room, right? And you decide to turn off the sound of the world. And I don't mean just like muting your phone or closing a window.
Right, yeah, like actually silencing the hum of your refrigerator or the traffic outside.
Exactly, the wind, all of it. But then you push it even further. You somehow silence the concept of time passing. You silence the actual space around you.
Which, I mean, is a terrifying level of sensory deprivation when you really think about it.
Totally terrifying, reaching that absolute sensory zero. But according to the text we're doing a deep dive on today, if you can actually reach that void, you won't just find emptiness. You're going to find a literal roadmap to immortality.
Yeah, it's a profound, almost, I'd say, aggressive challenge to how we perceive reality. So the text we're exploring is the chapter Celestial Cultivation, Article 8.
Right, and it's called Listen to the Ethereal Sound, Awaken to the Intrinsic Zen Harmony, right?
Yeah. Exactly. It was written by Feng and edited by Yu. And it centers on this one really radical claim, which is that humanity is capable of literal metamorphosis. But the trigger for that evolution is this really elusive, ethereal melody that's just hiding underneath all the relentless noise of our lives.
And our mission today is to unpack exactly what that melody is, like how you're supposed to hear it, and why this text insists that finding it is literally a matter of life and death.
Yeah, the stakes are incredibly high in the source material.
They really are. But the barrier to entry here is just steep, because before we even get to the melody, the author demands this complete detachment from the physical world.
Right, the departure phase.
Yeah. And the imagery they use to describe this departure is just incredibly vivid. You're told to, like, soar over mountain barriers, traverse watery divides, and sweep entirely past the mortal world.
Basically, the author is systematically stripping away everything you use to anchor yourself. The text actually states that in this boundless silence, the human realm ceases to exist. Yeah, so there's no sun, no moon, no time, no space. The clamor of the ages just vanishes. You reach a point where you literally cannot even trace your own shadow.
Which is wild. But that brings us to the mental state you need to actually survive in that void. And I have to say, I have a major problem with the instruction they give here.
Oh, the paradox.
Yes. The text commands, and I'm quoting here, do not think, do not give rise to desires, follow the soul's lead, let no thoughts arise, fear no entrapments. I mean, come on, that is the ultimate philosophical trap.
It really is. It's the classic meditation hurdle.
Right. Because the moment you tell yourself, I must not think, you've just created a thought. The desire to have no desires is inherently a desire. How does anyone actively try to, not try without just spinning in circles?
Well, that exact paradox is what breaks most people who attempt deep meditation, honestly. The harder you grip the idea of emptiness, the more solid that idea becomes. But the text actually anticipates this trap.
Wait, really? It gives a way out.
Yeah, it offers a very specific, almost mechanical solution in the next breath. It instructs the practitioner to unfold and retract with ease.
Unfold and retract. I mean, that sounds almost like a breathing exercise, but for consciousness.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's a mechanism of observation rather than force. Because when a thought or a desire inevitably pops up in that void,
because it always does.
Right, it always does. You don't attack it, you don't violently shove it away, because fighting it creates mental friction. You just let the thought unfold, and then you let it retract on its own.
Oh, I see. So you're not wrestling with it.
Exactly. You allow the consciousness of life, and the text capitalizes life here, to flow naturally. As you stop providing that friction, those worldly anchors just quietly drop away.
Okay, so you stop fighting, the anchors drop. But what happens when they're actually gone? Because the text introduces this bizarre piece of terminology here. It says that in this boundless silence, the celestial fetus is preparing to be born.
Yeah, that term catches a lot of people off guard.
I mean, we're talking about cosmic silence, and suddenly there's this weird biological reproductive term thrown into the mix. What exactly is a celestial fetus?
Well, the term is jarring by design. In this specific esoteric framework, the celestial fetus is your nascent, unformed spiritual self.
So it's like a baby version of your soul.
Sort of. Think of your current everyday consciousness as just a protective shell. Beneath that shell is an embryo of a higher dimensional being.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But an embryo can't grow if it's constantly bombarded by the chaotic, really heavy frequencies of the mortal world. So reaching that absolute silence is the only way to create the sterile, zero-gravity environment that this higher self needs to begin forming.
So basically, we've built the ultimate incubator. We're floating in the void. Our worldly thoughts are just unfolding and retracting, and the celestial fetus is ready. And this is the moment the text promises that celestial music is descending.
Right, the ethereal melody finally arrives.
But the author refuses to just tell us what it sounds like. They build this massive wall of negative space to describe it instead.
Yeah, they define it entirely by what it is not, which psychologically forces your brain to abandon its normal acoustic references.
And the descriptions are just stunning. Like it says the sound is not the wind combing through bamboo. It's not the warbling of orioles. There are no visible zither strings and no thundering drums.
It's explicitly stripping away any natural or man-made instrument.
Exactly. It says it resembles flowing water, but it isn't the sound of water. It seems like the murmuring of swallows, but it isn't their call. And then, this is the part that got me, it hits you with the physical impact.
The intoxicating aspect of it.
Right. It says it's intoxicating, enchanting, bewildering. It surpasses the whispers of a lover beside your ear, and it fills the heart with infinite tenderness.
Those poetic denials serve a very specific function. The text is demanding that you literally stop trying to listen with your physical ears. It calls this an intrinsic Zen melody that represents presence within absence, the absence within presence.
Let's focus on that phrase for a second. Presence within accents. Because the text also claims this melody makes the, quote, bone marrow and cells dance in delight.
Yeah, that's a crucial detail.
Right, because when I read that, it completely shifted my entire understanding of what we're actually talking about here. If a melody's making my bone marrow dance, we aren't talking about acoustic sound waves traveling through the air to hit my eardrum, are we?
Not at all.
So, is this text actually describing a state of biological harmony, like a cellular vibration that it just happens to be calling music because we just don't have a better word for it?
That's exactly it. The author is absolutely describing a resonant frequency rather than an auditory one. It's an internal biological vibration.
That is fascinating.
Think about it like this. If you take a tuning fork, strike it, and hold it to your skull, you don't hear it through the air, right?
Right. The vibration travels directly through the bone.
Exactly. The ethereal melody functions on a similar, though entirely spiritual principle. It operates completely beyond human auditory perception. It's the authentic essence of life itself, vibrating at a frequency that purifies the soul, clears the mind, and quite literally sheds the mortal shell.
Okay, but if it isn't hitting my eardrum, how am I actually perceiving it? The text states explicitly that the music is not heard through the ears, but through the flowing consciousness of one's own life structure.
Right, the life structure.
Yeah, another massive piece of jargon. We had the celestial fetus, and now we have a life structure. Are they just talking about a soul here, or is it something else?
Well, life structure is actually a lot more precise than just saying soul. In this cosmology, it implies this geometric or energetic blueprint of your consciousness.
A blueprint, like your habits and stuff.
Exactly. Your habits, your purity, your spiritual discipline, these things literally shape the geometry of your life structure. And the text points out a direct correlation. The more perfect your structure is, the more beautiful the sound you perceive.
Wow, so it really is an audience of one.
Oh, absolutely. The isolation of this experience is hammered home constantly.
Yeah, the text says friends nearby can't grasp it. The lover sharing your bed cannot hear it. It's honestly like walking around wearing spiritual noise-canceling Bluetooth headphones, and you are the only person on the entire planet with the password to the audio stream.
That's a funny way to put it, but while the Bluetooth comparison highlights the exclusivity, I'd argue it's actually less digital and more akin to sympathetic resonance in physics.
Sympathetic resonance. Okay, break that down for me.
So if you have two guitars sitting in a room, and you pluck the A string on one of them, the A string on the completely untouched guitar across the room will begin to vibrate on its own.
Oh, right, because they're tuned to the same pitch.
Exactly. Your life structure is that second string. The celestial music is always playing in the background of the universe, but your structure will only vibrate. It will only hear it if it's tuned to the exact same frequency.
Oh, man, that makes perfect sense to the hierarchy the author gives us next, because the text actually provides a roadmap of different environments that trigger different layers of this experience.
The surface layers versus the deeper layers.
Yeah, and the surface layer environments completely caught me off guard when I was reading this.
I assume because they seem to totally contradict the goal of mortal detachment we just talked about.
Totally. Like, the whole goal was to escape the human realm, right? We
Yep.
just left the sun and the moon behind. Yet to hear the surface layer of this ethereal harmony, the text literally tells you to go stand amidst flowers under moonlight,
Right.
or to sit by a murmuring brook, or wander into vast mountains, or inhabit the land of tenderness, which clearly implies some sort of romantic or physical intimacy.
It does, yeah.
Why does a text that is so obsessed with leaving the physical world behind suddenly tell you to start your journey by, enjoying a moonlit brook?
It comes right back to that sympathetic resonance we were just talking about. The physical beauty of Earth-like, the harmony of a brook, or the absolute stillness of moonlight. These natural phenomena actually vibrate at a frequency very, very close to the celestial baseline.
Oh, I see. So we can't just leap into the void.
No, we're way too distracted to just jump straight into the cosmic silence.
Yeah.
So the physical world acts as our initial tuning fork. When you sip with that brook, the external harmony of the water quiets your internal chaos, just enough for your life structure to begin matching that vibration. The earthly beauty is merely a tool. It's a calibration sequence.
A calibration sequence. That is brilliant. You use the physical world to tune the instrument, and then you basically abandon the physical world to actually play the music.
Precisely. Because once you achieve that surface calibration, the text moves you to the deeper layers, the brook and the moonlight. They're no longer necessary.
Right, because now you're tuned.
Exactly. The deeper layers are accessed in utter tranquility, untouched by dust, with a mind completely free of distractions in deep meditation.
And then there's the final stage, right? What the text calls heaven's ethereal music, which requires the ultimate sacrifice.
Yes.
The text says the soul must literally leave the body. Self and form are no more. Divine light flashes, and there is neither beginning nor end. You've just shed your ego entirely.
It's a very gradual, methodical escalation. You start by appreciating the simple harmony of a flower, and you end by dissolving your own existence entirely into the cosmic frequency.
It's a beautiful progression, but to fully understand why this escalation is actually necessary, we have to look at the massive biological metaphor the author drops in the final section. Because this isn't just about achieving a peaceful state of mind, is it?
No, not at all. This is where the stakes become purely existential. The text reveals that this entire process is actually one of the 8 great mysteries of life.
Right.
It describes the Earth and the human world essentially as the womb of life. And it uses the metaphor of an egg. It says an unincubated egg remains an egg.
Which makes sense.
But if it isn't transformed, a fresh egg turns stale, and a fragrant egg becomes foul.
So a human being, according to this philosophy, is just an unhatched egg.
Yes, you are not a complete organism yet. You are just potential. Just like a chick requires sustained warmth to develop and eventually break out of its shell, a human requires deep cultivation to hatch into a celestial being.
And the warmth in this scenario, where does that come from?
The warmth comes from the revelations of the greatest creator and the wisdom of gods and Buddhas, which you grasp through this personal insight.
Okay, I really want to focus on that terrifying detail about the fragrant egg becoming foul, because for you, the person listening to this right now, I think this is probably the most confrontational idea in the whole text.
I'm definitely the most urgent.
Yeah, because we often treat spiritual journeys as totally optional. We think, I'm busy with my career, I've got bills to pay, I'll just hit pause on my spiritual growth and be a normal, neutral person for a while.
Right, you think you can just maintain the status quo.
Exactly. But the text says there is no pause button. If an egg just sits at room temperature, it doesn't wait patiently. It rots.
Stagnation is active decay.
Yes. Stagnation is active decay. But how does that spiritual rot actually manifest in our daily lives? Like, we aren't physically spoiling, obviously. So what does a foul egg actually look like in this mortal womb?
Well, the rot manifests as the slow accumulation of cynicism, despair, and just that heavy, suffocating feeling of being trapped in the mundane cycle of survival.
Just going through the motions.
Yeah. When you ignore the ethereal melody, your life structure literally begins to degrade. You become entirely consumed by the clamor of the ages, the anxieties of wealth, status, fear.
All the noise.
All the noise. And that density, that heaviness, is the spiritual equivalent of the egg turning foul. You lose the potential to ever hatch. You just expire inside the shell.
Wow. So to avoid rotting in the shell, you have to incubate. And the text claims that sitting in meditation, unfolding and retracting your thoughts, and listening to that cellular Zen harmony, That is the incubation.
That is the active process of staying warm, yes.
But it takes it a step further, and it slaps a hard calendar date in the whole process, which I found so surprising.
The timeline is very specific.
It is. It says a chick breaks out of its shell in 21 days. But a human, nurtured in the grace of the divine, emerges from the mortal world to become a celestial being in exactly 81 days.
The specificity of 81 days is striking. It grounds this highly abstract, cosmic philosophy into a rigorous, almost scientific discipline.
But 81 days of what exactly? Are they suggesting that if I just go sit by a brook for 3 months, I magically transcend?
No. No, the 81 days implies a period of unbroken, intense cultivation. We're not talking about meditating for 10 minutes before work on an app.
Right.
This is 81 days of dwelling in that boundless silence, maintaining the structural resonance of your life and surviving the complete dissolution of your ego without snapping back to mortal
It
desires.
sounds exhausting.
It's a grueling, continuous gestation period. It demands immediate and sustained action. But the promise, however, is absolute. If you endure the 81 days, you will emerge from the mortal world entirely transformed.
Man, we've traced an incredible journey today. I mean, we started by soaring past the physical realm into a silence so deep you literally lose your own shadow.
And we learned how to let our thoughts unfold and retract without friction.
Right. We discovered that the celestial melody isn't even a song, but a biological resonance that makes our bone marrow dance. We saw how to calibrate our internal frequency using the beauty of a moonlit brook before pushing into the deep layers of meditation.
And finally, we confronted the terrifying reality that we're sitting in the womb of the earth right now.
Choosing every single day whether to incubate our potential or let it rot in the shell.
The author actually leaves us with a brilliant, highly unexpected closing metaphor.
Oh, yeah, the movie reference.
Yeah, they reference a classic movie called Tunnel Warfare. Specifically, the famous line from it, "Our tunnels are right here in the house. Go ahead and find them." And the text adapts this to summarize its entire vast philosophy into one simple directive.
Which is?
The mysteries of life lie within the sound. Go ahead and find them.
Go ahead and find them. It's a challenge hidden inside an invitation. Which actually leaves me with a final thought for you to carry with you today. Think about how we operate in the modern world. We are absolutely terrified of silence. We buy white noise machines to fall asleep. We loop lo-fi beats in our headphones just to study. We pump ambient soundtracks into our offices just to get through the day.
We constantly surround ourselves with noise.
Exactly. And based on everything we explored in this text, is our modern obsession with artificial background noise actually a desperate subconscious craving for this intrinsic Zen melody? Like, we know we're supposed to be hearing something in the background of our lives,
Right.
but instead of doing the terrifying work of actually tuning our own life structure in the silence, are we just plugging our ears with static to avoid the silence entirely?
If the earth is an incubator, the constant noise might just be our way of hiding from the heat. We really have to choose whether to listen to the world or listen to the structure of our own existence.
Go ahead and find it. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.